about them behind their backs.
Well, good thing is it's not behind their backs. It's like our show's like a fucking distant continent away from them. So,
But welcome to the show. It is indeed Wednesday,
yep.
and
Thanksgiving Eve. Is
yeah,
that a thing?
yeah, that's what I called the show safety stretch. This is getting hard because I'm trying to be like semi-professional and think of titles for the show again. But that's hard when you do the show live, so you don't know exactly what you're talking about. Because
Yeah.
yeah, when we were doing the
We
traditional
should just number
audio,
them.
yeah, that'd make more sense.
This
Well,
is episode 2 of season
season two,
2.
apparently, yeah, because we're doing seasons
Season,
now.
yeah, season 1 was like 800 fucking episodes long. So here's to another 800,
Right.
maybe.
We're like The Simpsons in zero ways except for a number of shows.
Right.
But
So I was kind of game related. I went through like just the various like Humble Bundle codes and shit that I've like accumulated over the years. Because I was buying Humble Bundles before I even had a computer to play some of the games on. Because I knew one day I would have the computer. So if something was like, oh, I could pay $1 and get this shit, then all right.
I thought it was just out of the goodness of your heart, like I'm going to
No,
support
because
these developers.
I'm always paying $1, and it's a Humble
Right.
Bundle, so it's
Yep.
going to charity. If anything, I'm a worse person because I'm not putting down more for charity. Um, but so I was adding them all like the codes I just hadn't added to my Steam library, and now my Steam library is at 185 games.
Nice.
I've maybe played 10 of them, like like 10, 15. Like I have a bunch installed, but I've never touched them. Um, like I don't know how this happened. Like how shit got so out of control. And I'm still fucking buying shit. And like Steam's doing their goddamn August sale. I bought fucking Saints Row 4 yesterday, and now I'm gonna buy Saints Row 3 because it's $4 for everything.
Yeah, that's what I was just like. Probably a little later in the show, we'll go through some of the good, like the best things on sale right now. Well, basically, never mind. We can sum that up now. Everything is on sale right now,
Yeah,
more or less.
just about.
But this is the time. Well, I say the time of the year. They do it like every other week. But anytime they have one of these big Steam sales, the first thing I do is go to my because I've got, let's see, 65 games on my wish list. And they're all things that it's like, yeah, I wanted to play this, but just not for how much it, is currently. So then
Mhm.
things go on sale, but the problem then is literally 90% of the things on this wish list are on sale. So now the games that I was like, oh, well, if it was $5, I would get it, but, not for 10. But now it's like, well, it's $5, but other things are cheaper. And like, I still end up buying like nothing because it's like, well, that's on
Yeah.
sale, but it's not on sale.
Well, I mean, like there is like kind of, and I'm having a little bit of that too, where it's like if it's under $5 and I have even like a passing interest in it, I'll probably pick it up. Um, but once it like goes into like the $10 range for some reason, that's when I get like really like I have like 13 games in my wish list. Almost everything's on sale in it, and I'm still kind of like, is that worth $10? And it's like it's fucking Trials. I'm gonna play the shit out of it. But I'm still like hesitant.
And it's funny because they're ones that it's like I'm this close to pulling the trigger under the regular price, but just not quite. And then when they go on sale, it's like, well,
Yeah.
but there are some on here that I'll feel. Well, I did get Dark Souls 1 and 2. I've been saying I was going to do that for a while, and they go on sale all the time.
Yeah.
But I grabbed those, and of course we've talked about it. But one I've played probably about halfway through. I got like just to the very bottom of Blight Town, like that. Finally got to that last bonfire, and then and kind of quit.
Mhm.
And then two I've never played. I've been watching those videos, and I'm gonna butcher this guy's name. I don't know if you've seen his Vadia or something.
Vada Vidya. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am a big fan.
Yeah, well, for
It's
one, he's got like that natural like voiceover voice. Like he's awesome at what he does.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
he's an excellent narrator, and he will actually like he has the patience to dissect a lot of the shit in those games that like
And a
he
big thing
like
that
he
he does that a lot of YouTubers don't is he gives credit when it's other people. Like he'll be like, "Oh, this person,
yeah.
he was the first one." I like that, but that's minor. But yeah,
But that's like it has to like they have to do that because like it's so weird. Like the story of Dark Souls is a story that's like told through like a community effort to like break everything down. And I like that's part of what I like about the game is that the story is that uh kind of vague and to get all the details of it like you need like an entire community pointing shit out to each other.
well, and it's like I said on Twitter the other day. It's like I love watching those videos, but I don't feel any smarter when I'm done because the lore is so like obtuse and just detailed and complicated that by the time I get to the end of like, hey, there's certain videos that'll just focus on like one character, like one boss or one like I watched one yesterday on Grey Rat from Dark Souls 3.
Mm.
And it's funny because it always starts out and you're like, yeah, I can see that. Oh, I see how that fits. And then by the end, you're like, what? But the thing that amazes me the most is in a game like that. Like I said, I only played half of one and none of two, but I did play all the way through three. Not the DLC yet, but by the time I got like into the meat of Dark Souls 3, like that whole second half of that game for me turns into like a oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, running for my life. Can I do this? Like just trying to live, let alone like explore the whole fucking like oh, well this tombstone has a rose petal next to it. So obviously this person's related to Gwen's third cousin. Like
Mm.
anybody that can take the time to dissect that world and the item descriptions are one thing because you can always kind of stop and read them, but just like to explore every nook and cranny of that game, like it takes all the strength I can muster to like go through the main like oh I know I'm supposed to go this way like down this hallway, like if there's a little area that can veer off and I don't have to go down it, it's hard to make yourself go down it.
Yeah.
But and then just to have the perception to pick up on some of this stuff. Um, I don't know. I got into a thread today on some random website because I was looking for other games. I was like, what other games can you play that have that kind of lore where it's just through a world exploration? And kind of the good and depressing thing is it seems to be a general consensus, like just across everything, that Dark Souls is that high watermark.
Yeah,
Like,
like nobody does it the way they do.
right. So then everything else becomes like, oh, Skyrim has all the books you can read in it, and of course, it's Elder Scrolls is a universe that's been around forever, so it has a super rich, like super detailed lore, but it's just not told as interestingly. I mean, it's literally like somebody pointed out, like in Skyrim, if you talk to any of the NPCs, they're really only going to reference what's going on, like right now in that world. They're not going to go talk about like, oh, in the second coming of the age, this happened. To get that, you're really just reading the books that you pick up, and that's, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not nearly as interesting to me.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I was trying to. The only game that I think would probably scratch that itch that's not Dark Souls right now for me would be Bloodborne, but I don't have a PlayStation, so
Yeah. Um, and that's a shame because that's probably the best game of those styles, in my opinion. Um, one game I did want to ask you about, it said on Steam you had played some of it, was Subnautica. Because that one is on my wish list, and that looked pretty interesting to me.
is that the? I've got like four sub games on my.
That's like the water survival game.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
I like it because I like underwater stuff. It's got all the same failings and cool parts as any of those open world sandbox survivals. I mean, there's really not a clear like story or mission to follow. So it's really
Yeah.
just exploring and building stuff. Um, but it's pretty cool. What's it? Is it on sale right now?
Yeah, it's like I think it's like 11 no, $12 right now.
Is it even out of early access yet?
No, but it's one of those games that seems like it's gonna be like it's just they're constantly working on it, so they're never
Yeah,
comfortable saying like it's done
well,
now.
and that's pretty standard to the survival genre anymore. Like,
Yeah,
basically, when you get that hard launch, like, oh, we're at version 1, that means it's done. Like the game's that lived past its lifespan. It's
yeah,
weird. I don't know. I like it. It's just not. It's beautiful. It's the one. I had posted some screenshots of it a couple months ago when I was playing. Um, I don't know. I mean, it's if you've played any of those sandbox survival games, it's that except underwater.
yeah. Yeah, I was just curious, like if you had anything like either damning or like overwhelmingly praising for it.
Unfortunately, neither. Like it's not.
Yeah.
Eh,
Yeah, I didn't think so. I mean, you and me kind of have that in common. We both like water shit a lot. Um, Watery shit. The water
Sunless Sea is
shits.
one that I would look at, see if it's on sale. Have you read about or watched or are you familiar with
I,
that at all?
I've seen that. That seems stressful to me.
It is.
Like I don't know. I like the one. Like one seems a little more whimsical, and this one, like I've looked at it. I've heard good things about it, but I'm just like, I, with all the games I have to play, I wonder like, do I have time for a game that I strongly suspect will make me feel like shit? Um, and then that's one that I'm kind of, I don't know, but I
Yeah.
don't know. It's
It's. I mean, if you're looking for, it's a relatively relaxing game. I mean, there's creatures there that kill you. So I mean, it's not just like
it's
oh,
relaxing in the way that mortality is relaxing, and that it will all be over.
I, I I'd say that my biggest complaints about it are, like I say, they're the exact same complaints about just about every game in that genre. Um, for instance, there's like these sand sharks that will attack you, but everything is very like kind of wonky in how it moves, like very video gamey. Um, God, I don't know how to put that in words so it doesn't like it doesn't. They none of them feel like living creatures necessarily. Um, and it's just the same like okay, first I need to construct a bigger air tank so I can explore farther, so it's just going around gathering certain type of metal, and then once you do that you use that to gather different types of elements to build bigger things, so it doesn't have anything super compelling, but the views are really beautiful. It, it's a nice break from hey, this is a deserted island or this is a dinosaur island like all the other survival games are set in. So
Yeah.
there's that. I mean, I wouldn't. I don't regret purchasing it. We'll put it that way, and I probably got it at full price, although it might have been one of the other sales. But at the same time, it's not going to change your life. Like
Yeah.
you're not going to play it and be like, "This is on my game of the year list."
Yeah. Fair enough. There's a lot of good sales though. Like they're not for me because I already own a lot of them, but like Doom is like $20.
Can't go wrong. The new, jeez,
Yeah, 1979.
that's probably still my forerunner for game of the year. So
Yeah, I mean that and Overwatch right now. It's I go back and forth. Like right now, it's tough because I love Overwatch and it's fun as hell. Um, but Doom was Doom was really impressive. Like like Overwatch is impressive. Anytime you make a good game, it's impressive. But like Doom, they did so many things, so
just
like
unexpectedly,
untraditional
right?
for like what a shooter is in 2016. And this has been, from what I've heard, like I haven't played them all yet, but I've heard this has been a pretty good year for shooters. I heard Titanfall 2 was surprisingly really good.
Hmm.
Um, Not surprising. Like I know people liked the first game, but like I heard
Well,
specifically the campaign was good.
yeah, I say
Um,
yes and no. The first one was one of those that people liked is the
People
best
liked
way
it,
to
but
put it. It's yeah, it wasn't anything
people liked it,
special.
but they seemed like it seemed like it. Well, it seemed like they really liked it initially, and then it was one of those games that just kind of tapered off after like a
Yeah.
month. Um, that, and that's to me what makes Overwatch impressive is like that's a game. Like when it first came out, everybody was all over it and shit, but you don't really know how much legs your multiplayer shooter has until it's been a few months out and like what the enthusiasm still is, and people are still all over that game. Um,
What
Fucking
was I'm
thoughts
trying to
in the mind.
trying to think of some of the other shoot because you're right. And there was another recent one. I mean, Battlefield 1 people liked okay. Those ones are hard to even consider because they basically come out and they're nothing more or less than what you really expect them to be.
Right.
Now, I will say Battlefield 1 would be a little bit more because that franchise had been like taking consistent steps backwards, and one sounds like it's pretty fun. But the weird one, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, because I heard people like it. It's supposed to be a pretty good game, but I've heard nobody at all talking about it. And I know the
Yeah.
sales I saw, or from what I've seen, the sales aren't as high as they wanted them to be. Of course, they want everybody in the world to buy like 2 copies each, but that's not surprising. It's an annual game that everybody I think is kind of getting sick of finally.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this last week when I was thinking about that game too. You get games like Halo, for instance. That's a good one, where when it came out, it really like blew away that current generation of console game. It was really that first really good shooter on console, and that's really what brought first-person shooters to console. So then everybody that played it at that time became a huge Halo fan. But then they keep coming out with them years after year, and that kind of initial group that it reached, and then the kids, or I say kid, but gamers who come on right after that, everybody's talking about Halo, so they get into it. But eventually, it's been around so long that I think people just kind of outgrow it.
Mhm.
And then, if you're my niece, for instance, she's 13, and if she started getting into like console gaming or something, Halo holds the word Halo holds no power over her because she's got no bias about it one way or the other. And so once
Right.
that starts to happen, then you start to lose those like automatic sales every time you release a new game, and you're back to just being another game among a sea of shooters. And I think that kind of happens. I kind of wonder if Call of Duty's kind of getting to that point, because there were the Call of Duty kids, I would call them, that every time one came out, they had to be playing it, and they'd be prestige rank 13 by like day two.
Right.
And now it's just, I think a lot of them have probably moved on, maybe not even gaming much anymore, because that's typical. And so now Call of Duty comes out, and all of a sudden it's not that must have. Everybody's playing shooter. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said, the things I've heard about the game itself have been pretty positive, but it's just nobody's talking about it.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, I get that. It's, but at the same time, I'm still interested in, you know, yeah, I'm interested in a lot of shooters right now. Like even shit I know, I'll play like maybe a couple times and blow off. I still feel like I should play Battlefield 1.
I really, really
Um,
want to, except for it's EA, so it's Origin, and I don't know.
you're
I'm
right.
going to
Well,
hold this
some
like.
of us have consoles, man.
That's true.
Some of us are the superior console
But it's
race.
shooter, man. It's so hard to get. I prefer gamepad now for like everything except for first-person shooters, and
It
even
kind
that
of
has some
depends.
exceptions. Yeah.
It kind of depends. I've noticed it's kind of interesting. Like I still have, like I said, I have 185 games on my Steam list, and that's just my Steam list, not counting shit I have on GOG and all that stuff. But and even when I'm in the middle of a game like Dishonored 2, I find myself like there's something about like there's still something relaxing about being able to pick up a controller and play a game that isn't quite the same when I'm hunched over a keyboard. Um,
Well, yeah,
it's
I mean, there's that. I was just thinking today, how with the Dark Souls 1 and 2, how much I'd love to be able to just like sit back in my couch and have it on something like the Switch. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, I could play it on the living room TV, but even more like intimate's the wrong word because that's weird, but just relax, casual, like, which is funny because Dark Souls is about the farthest from casual you can get, but yeah, I mean, there's something to be said for different games and different experiences and how you play them. I do agree being hunched over the keyboard's not necessarily the most.
it's fine. Like, and obviously, you do get better controls for like a first person game, but it's there's something a little more tense about doing it. So that's partly been my problem with like playing games like Dishonored 2, where I'm just sort of like I'm not in the mood to be that. Like when I play a game, I really like these days. I really just want to be chilling out. And like Dishonored 2 is already pretty fucking stressful.
I've heard.
Because I mean, the bumbling assassin's back, and he has a daughter, and she's just as fucking incompetent. It turns out. Um, they really released a patch for that, and it seemed to clear up a good chunk of the issues I was having. For some reason, the game still thinks I should be playing on lower settings, but I have it on high, and like I'm not having any problems. So I don't really know why it's like you need to turn fucking everything off, man. Well, I don't even know why you bought this. But it seems to be working okay. But that also means I have to play Dishonored 2, and like Corvo. For those who never listened to our show back in the day when we were first playing Dishonored, I'm really bad at the game. and, and
Well,
I always fucked up and made stupid mistakes. I would try to be non-lethal. I would choke a guy out, and I would like lean it. I would put his body up against a wall, and then I would hit a button. And turns out that wall was a secret door, and it would crush the guy and kill him.
yes.
Um, like I would kill somebody, or I would choke somebody out, teleport up to the ceiling, up to like a lamppost, holding his body to get out of the way, and then accidentally drop his body, and he would land on his head and die. And that's where Corvo, the bumbling assassin, came from. He's on and off my Twitter avatar. So I decided let's not play as Corvo this time. And see if I do better with Emily. And no, if anything, it's worse because Corvo's main teleport power is it's a very direct, like you point to a place and he goes to it. It's like a faster Reaper in Overwatch. You just where do you want to go? You go there. Emily is it's more like a pull, like a grappling hook thing. I mean, it still happens really fast, so guards don't really see you when you do it, but it does mean that there are moments of weird physics. So when you need to get up to that ledge, or like a balcony to get into an apartment window, there's a very real chance that she will fucking slingshot herself past the point where you aimed and land like in between 5 guards, and the fucking guards are like, "What the hell? It's her!" And then you're pretty much dead. And so like getting a grip on her powers has been kind of weird. More so than anything, that's like kind of like a lot of people really like the game, so it might just be me. Maybe I'm just playing badly, and the AI is responding to it. But it feels like the level design isn't like I felt this about Deus Ex 2. It feels like the level design isn't as good as stealth games kind of were just a couple years ago, because it feels like they're not like they're building levels more around like how they would be in like a real world, rather than building them around like how can somebody navigate this and not get caught.
Yeah.
Um, like the guards' patterns are very weird, and um, like there was I did a like one of the levels that's getting a lot of praise, and for in some reasons rightfully so, is the Clockwork Mansion, and it's this mansion you break into. And you have to rescue somebody, and you have to take somebody out, whether you kill them or you find the non-lethal option.
Take
Um,
me out. Ba-na-na-na. Oh, sorry.
No, I love that song. If we want to just play Franz Ferdinand the rest of the day,
It's a great
I'm up
song.
for it.
It makes me want to bust out my Guitar Hero controller, though, but or
Was
Rock
that on
Band. I forget
guitar?
which one of the two. Yeah,
I only played a couple of those games.
like
so,
old PlayStation 2 version. But anyway,
yeah, probably Guitar Hero then.
yeah.
But like, so this mansion is like it's full of switches you flip, and then just like the entire mansion, like the rooms you're in, change and shit flips around, and you can like jump into like as things are moving, you can jump in and hide in the walls of the mansion and stuff, and that's kind of how you get around. And it's a really cool design, but like once I got to the point where it was time to deal with the target, like who I was gonna deal with, kill or not kill, like I got to the room he was in, and he was surrounded by like he was just on a walkway with his back to a wall with two robots who like these robot soldiers, they can see in front of them and behind them. So they have a field of vision both ways, and they fucking see you from really far away. And there's no way to get the jump on this guy. And I like
There's probably like
me,
the most simple solution to it too. That like
maybe, but I don't know how. Like I looked all around that room for every possible approach that wasn't like a direct one. And how I ended up doing it was you can hack these robots if you can stun them and get to like they're pretty tall, so you have to get to like a little compartment to the side of them, and like you if you have a rewire tool you can get them to work for you. So I did that to one of them, and then they ended up fighting, and like but that's not satisfying to me. Like
well,
that's
yeah,
not
it's not. It's
like
it kind of
that's
gets
not a
into
stealth
the Deus Ex Human Revolution complaint, where it's like, oh well, you can play any style except for this encounter and this encounter and this encounter, where you literally have to just like grab a rocket launcher.
yeah.
Now, when that's
Well,
your play style, like it was basically mine, it took me out of the experience way less because I sucked at stealth and just when it fits in with what you're doing. But yeah,
Yeah, well, like my problem was like I couldn't figure out if the reason he was like he turtled up like that was because maybe like I had made too much activity in the building before that, so he was aware that there was an assassin there, and that would kind of make sense. But like just that feeling of like, all right, well I have to just walk up directly and chop him in the throat. Like that's not that's not what I play Dishonored for. And you like I think like it seems hard to not get caught in that level, because the first thing you do when you enter it, you're basically in a locked room. So a locked room with a switch. So I flip the switch and he's immediately like, oh, someone's there. Like you hear him on the intercom. And then like you have to like he has to acknowledge you then. Like there might be a way around it, but I couldn't figure that out. Whereas in the first Dishonored, I felt like the stealth options weren't like, even if some of them weren't always easy, they weren't like cryptic. And that was a problem I had with this last Deus Ex too. Like sometimes like the options I wanted to do were not obvious at all. So I spent forever on stupid side missions because I just couldn't find like a fucking vent or something. And in some cases, like where there should have been a vent, there wasn't one. So you always had to just like deal with things in the most direct way possible. And so I'm not sure if it, like, maybe I'm just not fucking good at stealth games anymore. Maybe I just don't have the patience to look at every corner and I'm missing something obvious, or it honestly feels like the priorities of level design is changing. And I think that for a game where the satisfaction comes from like figuring out a pattern in the AI and exploiting holes in it to, progress, like it feels like when the AI seems to be more random, like that's a little less, like that's a little more irritating to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because then it's like you can do something perfectly, but they just happen to. Of course, it's more realistic, but it's more realistic
But
better.
yeah, but yeah, like things, not everything fucking runs on whale oil. Like we don't have to be
Right.
realistic here.
Yeah, I mean, and to do what we do best on this show and plug a different, better show, uh, I was listening to the Bithell Games podcast this week.
Mhm.
I guess it comes out every Monday. It's the first time I've seen it, but Mike Bithell, it's his company. He's the one behind Thomas Was Alone and Volume most recently. One of the most interesting parts of the episode this week is they take reader mail because they're like people actually they actually have an audience. We'll put it that way. And it was a guy asking, he loved video games and wants to do something in video games, but he went through, as they call it over there, he's in England. I went through university doing architecture, but he wanted to turn that into a games career, like level design or something. And that got I didn't realize Mike Bithell had started in games. Or maybe not started, but he did a lot of level design. He was a level designer before he went on to be, programmer or whatever, and then leave and be an indie developer. And he was talking about that, like, because the guy had talked about how he had used his architecture. He's used 3D programs like Maya and stuff to create worlds or environments, like recreated Las Vegas or parts of Las Vegas. And he was even getting into Unity so that you could like walk around. Because one of the professors or somebody in classes said, these are good, but it would be better if you could actually explore them. So he wanted an interactive environment and blah, blah, blah. How this relates to what you said, though, that was one of the first things Mike Bithell had said. He's as a game designer, a level designer for video games, you got to be careful because it's one thing being able to recreate real world architecture that does have a real purpose, but a lot of times real world architecture does not serve video games very well because you can do things or your purpose or your goal in
Yeah.
video games is way different than what real life. Real life Vegas is about moving people through areas, getting as much
Yeah.
pedestrian flow as you can, directing them to things. And games might not be that might not be their goal.
And that's a really interesting thing. It brings to mind, I think, Assassin's Creed a little bit, because that's one of the problems. Like, I think they're sort of like hold the button down and you'll free run sort of solution was kind of an interesting idea around it, where your character is kind of like he's dealing with the obstacles for you. But there are still like pitfalls to like trying to recreate. Like, I don't know how true to like real life the architecture was, but it seemed like they were going for a more realistic approach in a lot of their city designs in all those games, and it always felt kind of clunky.
Yeah, and it also does things like it highlights the fact that it's odd in all Assassin's Creed games that like on every single block, on every single street, there's a merchant cart with a slanted like crate top and a flagpole like the perfectly 3 feet away from it for you to like run up and like I get you have to add that to video game to turn it into a gameplay so you can as an assassin run and then kind of climb and jump and swing and get to the rooftop all really quickly, but
Mhm.
by trying to make the world like ultra realistic but also work for the assassin, it brings some of those things, and that's something that always bugged me with Assassin's Creed was just how repetitive the like hay carts and the merchant carts and the flagpoles and stuff.
Yeah, like why is there a fucking hay cart literally under every building?
But only
in
under the
every
highest
corner?
peak.
Yeah,
Like
it's
you like to think that back in like Roman times, it was somebody's job to be like, hey, There is a
Yeah.
high ledge somebody could fall off of. Let's put a hay cart here. And I don't know
I
why they
think
talk like that in ancient Rome, but that's exactly what they
yeah.
sounded like.
I just like I think of all the like stretches of free running where it like you're doing like these cool moves over rooftops and shit. Of course, you're not doing it. You're just holding a button down. So that's maybe why I found it a little underwhelming. But then like it always seems to end up with like either your character fucking flinging off the wrong direction, or oh, you hit a brick wall and now you have to watch your character slowly climb up, and it's like maybe it would have been worth subtracting some of that realism. I mean, realistically, you probably can't climb most of those fucking buildings you're climbing anyway. So why not have like a way for him to get up faster? Um,
Like a Benjamin Franklin powered grappling hook with a retractable spring.
Fucking A, dude.
Right.
You wanna turn Assassin's Creed 3 into a goddamn Game of the Year contender? That would have done it. Um, but or
No,
fucking any of them, really.
that game could have been immensely helped by subtracting the. They're like, oh, this happened in colonial America where there's a lot of snow, so we're going to put a lot of sections where you have to wade through waist deep snow and it slows you down, because that's what you want in a assassin oriented action game, is to be
Right.
slowed down more.
Yeah. Uh,
I hated 3 so much.
yeah. Fucking 4 was great though. I mean, not because it was Assassin's Creed, but
Yeah. Somebody was
yeah.
2. I liked 2, but I think part of that had to do with that was really my first exposure to the series. So, like, all the annoying trappings that hadn't gotten annoying and repetitive yet. Plus, it has
I
that line
didn't.
at the like very beginning where the guy goes, "It's a me, Mario." So, I mean,
I
game of the
liked
year,
some
but
of the aspects of 2. I kind of liked building up like you kind of build up your house and like your equipment. There's like a bit of a like personalization option that wasn't really there in the first game. But I don't like how those games play. I hate the missions. They're so samey. It's so fucking tedious. And the fact that they made 3 fucking CO games blows my goddamn mind. Because I played 2 and I was like, all right, that was okay. And then I tried to play Brotherhood and I'm like, what the fuck? It's more of it. Like,
yeah.
why are people saying this is the best one? Like, this shit is.
Even Black Flag had very little evolution in the way of that, other than obviously the giant edition of boats.
Right, and that's why Black Flag holds like a special place in my heart. But there's no denying that it didn't solve the
No.
problems of the series. It just distracted from them.
It was
with this
basically
really well designed navigation mechanic.
I could sail around the world with a giant fucking stupid grin on my face, like singing along to sea shanties for hours, and then you make landfall and you're like, fuck, now I gotta do another mission.
And honestly, I wish like even like the boat stuff, which I loved. I loved 4. I have Assassin's Creed Rogue, but I haven't played it yet. I was thinking that might be a game I like when I get back onto streaming regularly. That might be my next playthrough. But even that mechanic, I didn't like as much as like I think mechanically it's great. I don't like a lot of stuff about it. Like I don't like how like the world's kind of cut off, so you sell the sea in kind of chunks. Like, and it seems to me like it's Ubisoft, so they have the same framework for every fucking open world game they do. It seems to me like it wouldn't be hard to have the like naval stuff like be seamlessly like attached to like the main areas you go in that game.
Right.
Of course, I'm kind of basing that off of like how games are now, and probably not the like where
Not
those
the
games
expert
were
in-
when
yeah,
when
yeah.
4 came out, because that came out on the last consoles. I mean, so
It
did
did.
Rogue.
That was one of the like I said, I loved the sea stuff. Just you give me a fucking sailboat and I'm happy.
Right.
But I was a little disappointed in how claustrophobic the open sea felt, because it really wasn't like you were exploring I don't know. And that is tough because realistically, that's the sea. It's like, oh, look, it's interesting because you're by this island. Now there's just a huge fucking expanse of nothing. Like, it's hard to make that interesting.
Yeah.
I was most disappointed at how unentertaining, uninteresting, and just flat out annoying the diving site. I was so geeked out by the fact that, like, oh, you can dive underwater and explore shipwrecks and
A
stuff.
seatbelt. Oh my god.
But and then they're like, we're gonna turn this into a stealth mission with sharks. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, that stuff was stupid. But I mean, like, but to be fair to that part of the game, the rest of the stealth stuff in that game is not very good either. Like anytime, like for a game called Assassin's Creed, anytime you had to be quiet or be at a distance or be sneaky at all, it fucking sucked. Like to that series, like being an assassin just means you run kind of fast and you jump off shit. Because like when you had to like be a stealth boat and like
That was the most ridiculous fucking thing in the world.
Yeah.
Stealth boat missions.
yeah, and, like because nobody on the deck would think to look to their left. You know, it's like that was the most ludicrous fucking mission or missions. I
And
don't
then
remember how many times you had to do it.
Not too many, fortunately, but there was enough to. Well, one was enough to piss me off, but yeah, like you said, they don't look backwards in boats.
Because they took what's frustrating is they took the worst part of the main game of Assassin's Creed and put it into the sailing.
Right.
Which, like those eavesdropping missions, which are the fucking worst, and they made you do it in a fucking boat.
I loved that the boats could get too far away and you feel like you have gotten too far away. I'm like, it's a fucking boat on the open sea. I can see it for hundreds of miles, basically. Maybe not.
Oh my
hundreds,
god! Yeah, you're in open water. You're like, fuck, I lost him. Like he went left, I went right, and now we're never catching him.
Yes. There was one where I remember it was you were sailing through some like backwater channels.
Yeah.
And there would be like these low, like sandbars or something that you couldn't fucking see, and you couldn't get. It was and that's what I can't wait till the movie comes out and it's like 5 minutes long. One of the actors notices the cameraman and it just abruptly ends.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how many scenes in that movie will be scenes of him just following somebody who's having a boring conversation.
But they gotta like, you got too close. Start over, and they all walk like. Not like they break character, like that's just the world that they live in. Like,
yeah. I mean, I'm still in that mindset of like I don't really want video game movies, but in general, but I'm fucking stunned that somebody would like put money into that fucking mess of a story.
The thing is, so people love us. Every time I bash it on Twitter, there's like a legion of diehard Assassin's Creed fans that come to its defense. So that's just one of those weird ones to me. That,
you know, if you like it, fine. If that's okay with you, but like there are criticisms against it. Like I don't feel like I've said anything about those games like
unfairly.
Like to me, like to me, it's not a taste issue to say those eavesdropping missions suck.
Well, all the missions. There's very few like. Out of the 5 mission types, there's like one where you're like they come up, you're like yes, and then the rest are like no, fuck.
Yeah, like, and I don't think it's even if you like sort of the traversal of that game, I don't think it's crazy to be like it could be better.
Yeah, right. Well, because other games have done shit. I think Brink did it better, and that was a shitty shooter.
Yeah,
but I guess you didn't climb much in that, but still, there's a lot of games that have that fluid motion,
like
stuff.
Doom. Take out Doom feels to like get around how fast that game is. Obviously, way different type of game, but like if you're gonna make a game where you're supposed to be kind of this fleet-footed assassin, like why not have sort of like why not let the player feel that powerful? Instead of like a lot of times playing Assassin's Creed, I feel like how I would feel trying to jump across rooftops. fucking scared,
Well, but now we're
fucking
getting back to
uncoordinated.
The Walking Dead season 1 episode like 5 or 6, the last one, where I just thought of this because somebody was talking about. I don't know if you remember, there was one of those parts. One of our big criticisms of that was how that game, especially towards the later episodes, would get into these like 15-minute long sections where there's no player input, and then out of nowhere be like, press A, oh, too late. And I remember there being one like that where you're supposed to jump across like 2 rooftops, but it was right after like 10 minutes of talking, and my guy Lee just plummeted to his death. I think he like lands on a piece of rebar and like impales himself. But that would be me.
That's what I hope happens to a lot of the characters in the show, though. Now, like, I think, well, like, I'm kind of bummed that wasn't like a permadeath thing. I'm like, that's just how Lee died. Like, because I think that's in that universe, like how people die in that show is so fucking stupid, and like so constant that it might as well be Final Destination. Like,
you don't see a whole lot of people having like normal deaths, like
like just every circumstance. It's always ridiculous to me, like. And I know, like, the reason they died is because humans are the more dangerous than the zombies. Like, okay, I get it, but like, you can have a situation on that fucking TV show where like they have all the guns, all the food, all the medicine, and walls all around them, and guards, and so fuck, a zombie got in. Fucking how? Like,
they always explain it
on each wall.
The zombie was there all along. Somebody got the sniffles, and when they woke up, they were a zombie. That kind of thing. No, I still like it. It's that I have a weird relationship with that show because my wife loves it, and when we watch it, it's like, and I've talked about this before because I'm like this with a lot of shows. Like if it's on our DVR, it's like, oh, do you want to watch The Walking Dead? It's like, no. And then she'll just like start watching it, and then when we start watching it, I really still enjoy it, but it's like I never want to watch it.
See, so I still hate the show. I've pretty much always hated the show. I gave it like 2 seasons, but I still have a fascination with it. Like I still have to keep up with what's happening in it to some extent. Like I kind of stopped following it for the last couple seasons, and then when they introduced the Negan character, I got back into it a little bit, but only in the sense that like I read plot summaries and then I go, fuck, did people watch this shit? How can they watch this shit? And then I comment. Well,
at least it's not Big Bang Theory, right?
Right. Thank God. I mean that's a prequel to The Walking Dead, I hope.
Maybe maybe it's a sequel, like that's what the world becomes.
Fucking intolerable. Goddamn annoying bullshit.
Now I forget what we were talking. Oh, yeah, the jumping roof to roof and Lee's hilarious death, which ties into Corvo too. And you were talking about the bumbling assassin, and it's funny because you were talking about how bad you are at that game. You're like funny bad, like you're good at it, but just unexpected things happen.
Well, like like it's rare that I fuck up to like something that like kills me. Even though that seems to be a bit more frequent with this new game, but like usually it's like something that undermines a personal goal I'm trying to do. Some stupid fuck up that like, oh well, I guess this is a lethal run now.
See, now I was just literally flat out bad at that game, and I know that was probably, sadly, you were the only person I think in the world that saw. But and that was one of my like earliest like dabblings in the realm of like streaming games.
That was like you versus a bridge, if I remember correctly. Where like you.
That's what made me think of it. It was just falling off of like.
You did not accept the idea of fall damage at all, and that was fucking hilarious.
But when you were talking about Dishonored 2, that made me think, oh, I bet Dishonored's on the Steam sale, and it is for like $3. No, it's 10 now regularly anyway, but
I got for pre-ordering too. I got the definitive edition for free.
Yeah.
So,
but that's
a great game.
Yeah.
Like especially if you can get the what's his name?
The Knife of
Fuck.
Dunwall, I heard, was like the best part of that DLC.
Um, Rigmore Witches is my favorite DLC of the two, but they go together. It's like two parts of the same story,
Yeah.
and I think that DLC pack is. I think it's better than Dishonored 1 or anything I've played in 2 so far. Um, because that's a really interesting, like Dishonored establishes kind of that universe, but that DLC like takes it into a more um sort of fantastic uh by nature thing where you're like you instead of like going after politicians and shit, you're going after witches. And it kind of reminded me of certain areas of Thief where everything gets kind of supernatural and like a little more unpredictable. Um, and just besides that, like you're like that character's powers are a lot uh, a lot more handy than Corvo's versions of them. So so yeah, if you can get the definitive edition or at least get the game and then get like the DLC, that like that's got to be dirt cheap, and that's pretty much a steal.
Well, it's
Um,
the regular game, the just vanilla game's $3.29. For the definitive edition, it's $9.99, which sounds like a pretty good deal because it's normally $5 a piece, $20 for that, and 10 for.
yeah,
It says normally $30. You could get the whole thing for 10, so that's pretty good.
yeah.
Well, I guess it's normally 20 because you can just always buy the definitive edition for $20. But and I'd probably jump on that if I hadn't just picked up Dark Souls 1 and 2. Um,
Right.
it will go on sale again, though. That's a pretty much a given.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, like, I'm
The one that pissed
I'm
me
so
off,
I shouldn't be fucking buying so much shit.
I know. That's the problem is I have like zero money right now, and
I mean, I have money. I saved up before unemployment, uh, and I have like really the money I'm holding on to is like mostly for like Christmas presents for other people and shit. But I can get away with it, but it's like I don't need to. I have so many fucking games to play right now, and I
yeah, I
just
think you've got me beat. Let me see my library. Oh, maybe not. I've got 207 games in my library.
yeah, like you have a good head start on me,
But yeah, I
and
was
you
gonna
have
say
equally weak will.
you installed Steam relatively recently. I've had Steam since like Steam came out. Orange
Well,
Box
I've had
or Half
Steam
Life
that
2, I
long,
think.
but I haven't been buying shit
Right.
until like the last couple of years. Um,
I think there's a pretty
so
good Humble Bundle out right now too.
I hope not.
Da, da, da. I finally got back to having two monitors. It's awesome. That's
Yeah, I saw that. I think you tweeted a
yeah.
picture of it.
I tweet everything. My entire life. Like I have no secrets. It's all on Twitter.
Lately, all I tweet about is sports.
I
Uh,
haven't seen you on Twitter much lately. Sometimes, like, there's
yeah,
days where I'll be like, I haven't seen Bit, and I'll look it up, and it'll be like, you haven't tweeted in 3 days. I hope he's still alive.
yeah. I've cocooned a little bit into just this like sometimes I play Dishonored, but mostly I'm back playing my NBA 2K season and just played the All Star game yesterday and that and like and now I'm getting like kind of tired of that, so now I need to find something else to do. Usually, if I'm on Twitter, it's because I'm very bored. So,
Which
lately I've had
explains why you
plenty
were
of
on it a
things to
lot more
distract
at
me.
work. Yeah, when you were working.
Right, right. Um,
I guess it wasn't the Humble, but there's some other bundle. The Humble bundle right now is not terrible, but this isn't what I was thinking. I've got Volume, which we were just talking about. I don't know. I it's like really a puzzly stealth based game, so it never really had me that and I don't want to say interested in it, but it's not really my type of game.
right.
Legends of Grimrock is one of those series I've wanted to check out, so that would be probably worth it just for that. The bonus games right now are Infinifactory, I've never heard of, but I think it's like the Incredible Machine, old game where you just like build these Rube Goldberg esque machines. Um, Secret World's an MMO. Not really interested in. Dungeon 3, I think, is supposed to be pretty. Or 2. Gosh. Dungeons, that's an S. 2. I think that series is supposed to be okay. And Grim Dawn I want, but that's one that you have to pay 14 or more to get, and I think you can get the game for about that, so.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't seem bad, but like with all the shit that's on sale right now,
Right.
yeah.
And it's funny because it's like time is running out. You've only got like 12
Yeah.
days, 18 hours. So they'll probably add more to this bundle. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, Steam
If any-
sales kind of what I'm looking at now. But
Yeah. If there's any saving grace, though, it's like at least Overwatch has kind of given me a built-in reprieve because they're doing some more radical fucking changes. Did you hear about Symmetra?
yes, and those they all sound extreme. Half of it are things that we fucking like flat out said last week on the show about her.
Yeah,
I-
but it still seems like the way I was going with it was I wanted her to be more of a support, like more of a real support option.
Sure.
And they seem to be going the other way with it.
But
where
at least
they're-
they're turning her into something that's got more utility than what she has
Yeah.
now.
Or yeah, I'm really curious how players like decide, which ultimate to value.
Well,
Like
it
because
seems like the obvious like vanilla version would be teleporter when you're on defense from far away, and vice versa for
it
offense.
really depends how they balance that shield generator, though. Like,
Yeah.
if
Is
it's
it
really
gonna be
effective,
worthwhile,
people.
right?
Yeah. But I mean, I kind of I like that they're changing her because she needs it. Not because I'm one of those people like, oh, they should play every hero, but just like the fact is, people do play Symmetra, and it fucking sucks most of the time.
Yeah,
And it should not suck anymore.
I
Like, it should be like characters. I don't like the feeling of like, all right, this person's just being a dick. Like I want there to be at least the illusion that somebody's picking a character because there's actually a purpose.
Yeah, I usually feel if I'm on defense and somebody picks her, I'm like, okay. If I'm on offense and somebody picks her, immediately feel like you said, like, well, this fucking person's a troll and whatever. Yeah. Which either way anymore, because we talked about it. It's basically the same as last week. I don't play a whole lot of ranked, and even when I do, I don't care about my rank anymore. The season might be over at the end of this week because the new one starts, I think, at the end of November. I think next Friday or something, maybe even next Tuesday.
I think I've pretty much just cashed out of this season. Like to me, it's like when they're doing all these radical changes, it doesn't make sense to play the game until those are in place. Because just the shit they've already changed with like Diva is a completely fucking different hero in some respects right now. And so I'm just waiting for all the pieces to fall back into place, and then I'll probably hop back in.
I love that they addressed how frequently Mei gets her ultimate. I hate that they didn't shrink the freeze area back down. I don't think it was bad to begin with. They were acting like, oh, well, initially it was too small and everybody could get out of it. I'm like, not really. If you aim it well. In my
news
opinion,
to me, how'd they do that?
Yeah, in my opinion, it was you would throw it at the one character you wanted to guarantee to freeze, and if it landed like on or near them, they weren't getting out. And bonus, you might catch some other people. Now it's basically like if the other team is spawned, all of them will be caught. Like I hate her ult so much, but at least it's much less frequent now.
Yeah, I like that.
Junkrats, I don't know that they've. It feels like it's less frequent, but they didn't say that they
They
backed
did it
back
to all
down.
heroes.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true. That's probably all.
They
his is.
knocked all heroes. I think it was
And I like
20%.
because I felt like it got to the point where the game was all just alts all the time. Now the good teams that fucked us over so many times on when you're playing with random people that aren't coordinating, where we would feel like we're kicking ass, but you're just kind of like trying to get that last point. But what it is your team, like every time somebody on your team gets their ult, they pop it. and then it gets down to like overtime, and all of a sudden the other team all have their ults, and you just get like completely fucking wiped because
Well, I think that will be a good thing to come about it. Will be because ults will be less frequent. People will be a lot more concentrated on using them at the right times. Um, and
although,
like I mean, it could still end in fucking tragedy, but like I think we're gonna see people like get a lot more conscious of saving their ults, not
and
using them for
synergizing
every
them.
battle.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is like they took out the speed boost on Anna's nano
Yeah, yeah,
boost,
which I think is
and I
cool.
don't know, like that was my bread and butter, was find the tank and give
Yeah,
them the nano boost.
and
And
it's funny too because they acted like, oh, but it was overpowered. It's like when you first introduced Anna, it was because people didn't know how to deal with it. Now I feel like that's why I fucking hate playing as Reinhardt, because if you do, somebody else automatically plays as Anna, and they always
Mhm.
hit you with it at the worst fucking time, and you're like, well, now I have to lower my shield and go. And the second you do, you get put to sleep or something or frozen. Like,
well, that's the thing is like I get why they did it, because there should be, even if not a direct counter, there should be a means to get away
and there,
from
the thing
a
is,
boosted Reinhardt.
there is. You just have to play smart. A lot
Well,
of
it's like not really, because if you're in a gunfight with a Reinhardt, he gets that boost at the right
well, it's
time.
true. He's
You
fast.
you need you need an Ana to like put him to sleep, or you're basically fucked.
Yeah.
Um, so the idea that like at least some characters will be able to get away, uh, like I think it accomplishes the effect of like throwing a huge wrench in the other team, but it doesn't give you an automatic like team wipe.
Right.
So I understand the reasoning behind it, but like that's the interesting thing with Overwatch is like they're not afraid of doing really drastic overhauls to stuff, and in some cases that ends up like blowing back up in their faces. But they're constantly picking at this thing, trying to find the best way. This is like the most balanced, but also the most fun, and it's interesting to watch. Something like I said, like right now, it's kind of frustrating me because I don't really want to play it until like the dust settles a little bit and like, okay, this is what the game is now. Because I don't really have an idea of with all the shit they're changing, like what will an Overwatch game look like? Well, a week from now will probably look a lot different than how it did a month ago. Um,
Well, and that's something I think you'll have to. I'm used to it a little bit more because I played Heroes of the Storm, and just Blizzard's been like that. Even
no, and I
you
get
see it
that,
with
but
Hearthstone too, but I don't. That's a great game, by the way. I just don't play it. Um, they're constantly. I mean, and on the plus side of that is you can make an argument that says you'll never be able to perfectly balance any game. So if you're constantly changing it, then at least it's forcing players to constantly learn, to readjust, and
yeah, and they're doing a really good job, I think. Beyond just like new content and stuff, like they could do what every other developer does and like, hey, here's new maps and shit. But they're doing a really good job, I think, just from from the core of the game standpoint, keeping that game feeling alive and like something that the audience will stay engaged in, even if it's just to go on the forums and like, you fucked everything up, like they're still playing. It's,
right.
so I do admire what they're doing, but it is kind of, when I have this much shit to play, I can't. I don't have the patience to relearn Overwatch every fucking day I play it while they add a new change.
And that's another reason why I'm getting back into just the quick play instead of ranked. You're playing with much fewer people that know or care about the ins and outs of the game, so it turns it literally into just a mindless. And it'll be something like I joined a quick play game the other night, and there the 5 other players had already picked characters. There was not a single healer or tank. They were all just like offensive heroes. But with quick play, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna play. Then like, what's the point of me picking one of those 2 classes? So I'll just play whoever I want and not feel bad about it. Like if I did that in a ranked match, I'd be mad at myself. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been seeing a lot. If you play quick play, you're always going to have a Sombra on your team. I've had very few like matches where there's people like, oh, we're going to pick 8 Sombras like between the two teams. And I've noticed in ranked, most of the time people won't pick her. So, and I don't know how much you've played with her or played against her since, because you haven't been playing that a whole lot about since that patch. Although you did play on the public test realm, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
but
I mean, I've toyed with her a bit now.
her weapon to me seems like it's a little ridiculous. Like, it does great damage up close, which it should. It's a Uzi, but it seems
Mhm.
to do really great damage from pretty far away too. And
That's something that like it's so weird that you say that because like I've watched a lot of streams and stuff where like these top 500 players are like, man, her weapon's a little shit. Like they like the character, but she seems very situational
yeah,
to them. But I like about the same distance I'm shooting people with a soldier usually. I'm doing pretty similar damage with her.
yeah.
And I don't know if I'm just getting lucky with like the spread getting a lot of headshots or what, but I mean, I like the character, but like that's another thing that I'm kind of waiting for the dust to settle on is like, it was the same thing with Anna. Everybody wanted to fucking be Anna. There was always an Anna on your team, even if it wasn't helping. Um,
You
you
would
know,
get like Ana, Widowmaker, and Hanzo all in the same team. It's like, oh, good, 3 snipers. This will do.
awesome, perfect, fucking perfect. Um, yeah, but I think she's a good character. I like she has aspects of Tracer that I like in Tracer, but I don't really like playing as Tracer. So like her teleportation kind of gives you that sort of quick blink around option and that sort of speed, but you don't have to like manage it so much. Like like make sure, oh, gotta keep my rewind here and then back up. Like something about her teleportation feels a lot more natural,
Yeah.
where you can just like you can drop that thing in a room and then go out shoot and then like when you get busted hit the button and teleport back and like
Well, that's
you
the
know
thing with like, it's funny because at first Tracer was always such a difficult hero for me to fight, and she still can be. But most people just assume that if they blink forward or rewind, that they're like, haha, you lost me. And once you get used to her, Tracer, you can, well, trace very easily because you can tell from the effect which way, if she rewound or if she blinked forward. And if she blinked forward, you just aim that direction, just jump that direction a little bit, and there she is. And rewind, by the time people tend to hit it, you know where they were a second ago, and you just look back to there.
yeah
Like I'm
well
not dumb. I don't forget where she was when I initiated the fight. Although I like Tracer
yeah
a lot, but I did feel it's. I kind of felt like Sombra almost makes Tracer obsolete. Like
I felt that, but I also think like Sombra has certain limitations
she can't.
that kind
Tracer
of
can
negate
buzz
her.
in and out because she gets to 3 warps, and
She gets
Sombra's.
the 3 warps. Sombra gets the 1 warp,
And if you
which
get
she gets
hit,
pretty fast.
but if you get hit, you're uncloaked. So it's not like you're not
Yeah,
jumping. You're cloaking, and your
yeah.
speed
She's
does
more of
increase. But
a like Tracer is more of the kind of the blueprint irritant offense option, where you're kind of buzzing around and you're just fucking shooting people and getting their attention. Like Sombra, I feel like there's a little more stealth involved, where like you actually have to get the jump on them. Tracer, if you get spotted, you still have ways to get out of that
right.
situation. Sombra has some of those options, but they're less reliable. Because I mean, you can teleport, but
And there's
really
a
you need
time
that
limit to that
invisibility.
teleporter too. So if
Right.
my luck is always I leave it somewhere to be smart to have a way out, and by the time I get discovered and the shit hits the fan, it's like, oh crap, it's up.
Yeah.
Now you can still like lob your teleporter and try to teleport real quick to jump, basically. But
Yeah.
I
Which
haven't.
I like how they executed on all that stuff. I like how that feels. Like I like like her ability, like it's the thing that really, uh, above anything stands out about Overwatch is just how like smooth and easy it is to play. Even though you're balancing all these abilities and trying to be the most effective as you can with them, like executing those abilities like feels good, and like it doesn't, like it's not like a fighting game sort of like, oh god, like I have to put in some crazy combination. No, I just, you throw the fucking teleporter, and you like, hopefully you threw it in the right place and you knew what to do at that moment. But like the ability to play the game is not like, there's not a steep learning curve to Overwatch. It's a tough game to master. Um, except according to everybody on Twitch, who's like, you just fucking play more, get good.
Well, I think a big part of our problem is that we solo queue, and you can even be playing with other good players, but if your play styles don't mesh, it doesn't work. And especially me and you both, I guess I can't speak for you, but I can guess, like when I'm playing without like you on the team, it's just me and 5 other randos, like I am not on my mic trying to coordinate and do stuff.
No, I don't like talking to people if I don't know them.
I've been in matches where it's like all 5 of them are on their mics. It's like, do you have a mic? It's like, no.
Yeah. Why don't you have a fucking mic? And it's like, because I would have to, like, that would encourage you to talk to me more.
Right. But
yeah, I'm that way. You probably shouldn't have to have like antisocial, like fucking anxiety over an online game, but I still totally do.
Yeah, I know.
It's just
like, we talk. It's hilarious to me because we do this stupid show live all the time. I stream games live not all the time, but I do.
Yeah.
But there's just something about talking to random teammates in a random game that it's like, no,
that's
thanks.
That's weird because like, even like when I first started writing about games, more than anything, I wanted to do a podcast. Little did I know it would be the worst decision I ever made.
And you'd be it's a Hotel California of games journalism, but
right. But like for some, like I was really excited to do it. I mean, you can listen to our early episodes and you can see like nervousness and I still lose fucking track of thought. It's I'm probably not meant to do it, but I enjoy it. But like anytime there's like a voice chat option in a game, I'm so fucking nervous. And I'm getting a little better about it with Overwatch. Now I will pull out a mic occasionally, but it means I'm laying on like my general stupidity and my sarcasm really thick.
See, and I do that best through chat. So like I'll text chat, and that can be fun. There's been times where I've had like my whole team in like stitches through that, but like I just feel as soon as I turn on my mic, it's like, oh, the cool kids are gonna think I'm stupid. And it's funny because none of them are cool kids. I mean, it's usually someone really fucking obnoxious 12-year-old.
Yeah.
But
you just don't want to invite that in.
Right.
And it feels like that's one more way you're doing that.
Plus, a lot of times I'm playing Overwatch. Just my wife's behind me watching TV, so I don't really want to be like shouting over the TV. But
yeah. Anywho, we'll probably call this an episode.
We're getting there. We're about 15 minutes short, but we started about 15 minutes late, so I think that works out.
Yeah, and it's a holiday.
It is.
It will be.
Merry Christmas, folks. Oh wait, not quite yet.
Yeah.
You'd think so because the music's been on the radio for like 3 weeks already. Fuck, stupid. But
fucking Kwanzaa, man. Celebrate Kwanzaa. You get down with Kwanzaa. Go have a good Kwanzaa.
I don't know why that just reminded me of somebody. Oh, it's that Joe Walsh. I don't know if he's a fucking moron. There's a lot of Joe Walshes, but the one in particular he was a politician out of like Indiana for like 3 days. He's lost pretty much every election he was ever in. Now he's a radio host, but he's a fucking moron. But he tweeted something about like, oh, I'm sick of this happy holiday shit. It's Merry Christmas. Fuck you, like, for being so sensitive. It's like, well,
it's not sensitivity. It's acknowledgement that there are other holidays.
Right? Because like as of right now, if I say happy holidays, like I'm a Christian and I believe in Christmas and the true like the Christian meaning of Christmas, but like we're not even at Thanksgiving yet. My happy holidays is encompassing
Yeah.
more
I'm
than
not
one
saying, when I
freaking
say happy
day.
holidays, I'm not specifically talking about
December
December
25th.
25th.
Right.
Like,
So there's that.
and I,
And at the same time, there's something ironically like delightful about somebody being like, don't do this, stop being so sensitive. It's like, aren't you being sensitive right
well, like,
there in that like one?
that's the weird thing is like, and even like I'm an atheist, and I'm going to hell, but no, uh, but
We're
like
all already there, so.
even I say happy holidays. Like there are like hardcore atheists out there who are like, well, it's not Christmas if you're not a Christian. Call it Consumerist Day or some shit. And I'm just like, no. I mean, I celebrate Christmas.
Yeah.
It's a family tradition.
Well,
like,
I mean, there's still if you happen to be a surviving pagan, there's a pagan holiday in there. There's
yeah,
Kwanzaa,
and I
there's
say happy
Hanukkah,
holidays because
there's
I'm not like.
right.
I don't give a fuck what you celebrate. I hope you have a good one because I'm a
But
good fucking person.
if I say happy holidays and you say something like that in response, then I take my happy holidays back. It's like, I hope you have a fucking terrible 3 weeks. Like,
All right, have a good fucking winter, asshole.
yeah. Happy holidays. No, you can't say, okay, shitty winter. Shitty winter to you.
So yeah,
Anyway, that was a weird political
hope you're, by the time you hear this, if anyone hears this, you've probably already had your Thanksgiving. I hope it was fun.
Well, here's the tip of the week with Thanksgiving coming up. You want to eat as much as possible. So after you've had like your first 4 helpings of Thanksgiving dinner, if you need to purge so you can eat some more, just watch our show. By the end of it, you'll have puked at least 3 times, and then you can eat some more. So
I'm gonna go puke right now.
all right.
So
Yeah, happy holidays, Thanksgiving, whatever. If you're not, you can't say happy Thanksgiving either, because if you're not an American, or even if you are, like happy fucking day you killed all the Indians.
Well, we
Which I
shouldn't
get.
have done that.
Right, we should not have done that. But I can still
We
enjoy my
fucked up,
turkey,
all
right?
right?
Like,
We fucked up, but here's a bird.
right.
That's the holiday.
So,
So yeah, see you all next week.
yup,
Bye.
if I remember.
Yeah.